25th of July 1961 and 25th of July 2021. Yes, it's the 60th birthday of this track. Oh yes, the birthday of a track, quite unusual for a video. Well, there are a couple of reasons for this, apart the fact that I find it extremely funny. To be honest, it's very tricky, very tricky, because there are many turns where you don't see what is gonna happen right after. Now this shot is taken from above, but for example this very corner takes the pilot to brake before actually seeing it. Well, this is Mosport Park. It's in Canada, north of the Lake Ontario. The track was just changed once, but only to enlarge to increase the width of the tarmac. But they took care of keeping of preserving the original racing line along all the track. So it's quite a unique characteristic, because there are very few tracks in the world that had really no changes over 60 years of usage. This mod is is referred to the year 2020, so it's quite recent, and I guess that it's laser scanned, or if not laser scanned, at least it's very accurate. And this is another key feature. The track was devised in 1958 and saw its first race in 1961, but they took care of safety. Large escapeways. Now we see what kind of races they did the first time. This one is referred to 1962, but it's the same kind of race. And this picture is absolutely lovely, because the Player 200 was a 200 miles race divided in two, and at the end of the first 100 miles the very professional label to tell Dan Gurney, the great Dan Gurney, it's time for the break, is "Hey Dan, we eat." That's something I don't think we're gonna see in modern Formula 1 or similar other races. Okay, to celebrate this track, well, why not starting from GT cars of the early 60s? I think they are not just exactly the same that raced there, but this is what I could find in my own collection of mods for Assetto Corsa found here and there on the net. I'm driving Aston Martin DBR1, and my direct opponents are here the Lotus D-Type. Oh no, sorry, the Jaguar D-Type. If someone at Lotus hears this, they're gonna kill me. The Jaguar D-Type, which are following me right now. Okay, speaking about escapeways, you could just see that blue Jaguar behind me. And in front of me there's this light blue Ferrari 250 Testarossa. Okay, they were not the only ones. In the pictures you could see in the beginning, you could see Lotus 19, Chaparral. Hey, what are you going to do? Keep your racing line. A Cooper, etc. But these cars, shown here, surely represent the environment. Okay, now this Ferrari, I don't know the reason why it made such a late braking, but again we're seeing the effects of carrying safety and escapeways. Of course, in those years there was just grass, and the crowds of people were kept quite far. Here we've got more tarmac walls, soft walls with piles of tires behind, but all in all, the point is this track was well born and is still good today. Okay, so after this race, I took some minutes to show the ongoing of the race because here there's a good fight between me and these other AIs in this case. I decided to make a few short races and take some recordings here and there, not only to show what cars were racing here, but also if this track is so good all over the time, well, it must be very versatile. I mean, many different cars of many different kinds can be satisfactorily raced here, with giving a good show and giving good pleasure to the drivers. So I'll briefly follow various races and have a little comment for each of them. Okay, now as you could read, we are in 1967. This is the Formula One, this mod. I bet many of you have recognized it. It's the one taken from the Grand Prix Legend one. I guess this was quite a chaotic start and I'm lucky not to have crashed, even though I touched the tires of Dan Gurney's Eagle. Forgive me, Dan, I missed my racing line. It was not done on purpose. I'm sorry that you got more unlucky than me in this contact. But it's a great environment. This 1967 Formula One, because even though these cars were crazy horses with loads of power compared to the grip, etc., these cars were great to drive and they gave a really good show. Another mistake and another contact, but I think that Richie Ginter in his this is the other Eagle car racing here, a really beautiful car, I must say. I lost the line of my chapter. Okay, back to the race. I'm driving a 16-cylinder BRM borrowed from Sir Jackie Stewart, a pilot I admire a lot. By the way, a pilot that struggled hard along all his career for safety. And I'm fighting some I think that the one in front of me is another BRM. Yes, it's Mike Spence, and I'm overtaking him and going to fight with Chris Amon on his red 312 Ferrari. I got a better racing line. He got out of the track, but again there's room for it. And back to fight again with Richie Ginter. I see the light blue Cooper of Guy Ligier, and it seems to me I've seen Brabham, green golden striped Brabham, yes, here on the right. If it's not Jack Brabham himself, maybe it's his Danny Hulme. So here's a fight between us, among us. Yes, it's Danny Hulme. The Brabham was quite a good car, well balanced under all aspects, but lacking some power. Nonetheless, Danny Hulme won the championship right in 1967, if I remember well. While my car, the 16-cylinder double flat 8 engine made by BRM, never ended a race because it was totally unreliable, and that was a pity because it was a very, very powerful, brilliant engine after all, but very heavy and starred with failures. Now we got a fight again with Richie Ginter. I'm not in his slipstream. I decided to try to overtake him on the wrong line because here the track is dirty and I can't keep the line inside the turn, but again some grass and some tarmac help me keep my position at least. and go to the end of the race. Yes, it's a three laps race, so I don't suffer from troubles of the real car with reliability. Next one, another jump in time. I put that marking because I know that Formula 1 raced here in 1977, but this collection of mine puts together cars from 1970 to 1976, more or less. There's also, in this case, the the unlucky six-wheeler Tyrrell. That was a really peculiar car. I don't know if it raced here at Mosport, but as I said before, this is just a collection of what I could get. So we got three red Ferraris in the front. The white ones are Brabham with Alfa Romeo engine, and I'm driving this black Shadow. It's the Shadow DN1 car. I'm trying to throw the race away as my usual mistake. These cars, compared to the previous ones, have more grip and some slight downforce, so it takes some better reflexes and more attention. While someone decided to end this race, probably the turn is has something wrong. Maybe someone lost some oil. I don't know if the simulator takes care of it, but I had my troubles at keeping the car straight as well. However, we can invent everything since it's just a simulator and a replay. Okay. Again, talking about the cars, these ones are still funny. They're still. It's still possible to drive them with human reflexes, searching for the grip limit. But you may notice that if nobody makes a mistake, unless you keep very very close to the car in front of you to fully catch the slipstream, overtaking has become something more difficult already. Okay, from now on, instead of going through NASCAR, motorcycles and all the other cars that raced here, back to the idea that this track is very versatile, why not digging in my mod collection and trying to throw on this track various cars from various eras. So now you're gonna see some GT2 cars. I took away completely traction control and ABS, so things are more difficult, more challenging and funnier, and I'm driving a Chevy Corvette all yellow livery. Yes, I like this car. Okay, grip is much more, there is some downforce but not extreme, and if I don't make exactly such stupid mistakes, it's quite pleasant to drive. Again, I can say that part of the merit of this is of the track. Climbing, diving, changing slope along corners with a variable radius. It's a cocktail that once you learn by heart the track, it makes things very fun. Another jump here, we are in a totally different car. These look old, but they are modern, the so-called Legend. They are made with a motorcycle engine, 160 horsepower, mounted at the front and rear wheel drive. Tires are quite grippy, so we have this unusual cocktail of cars that require the typical way of driving of cars from the 50s, so you can see how many drifts are gonna happen, but you know, you must not waste too much time at drifting, because you're gonna waste a lot of time. However, it's a way to keep control, so when you're searching for the limit, if you go beyond the limit, that's a way to keep control of the car again. Okay, this is this was not wanted, but nice looking, and it proves exactly what I was talking about. Maybe a bit slow as top end, so the long straight becomes a little bit boring, but all other corners definitely help to compensate with fun and satisfaction. It's a replay of the turn I made some seconds before. I even don't forget what I put next. Oh yeah, the beautiful Mini Cooper. This is a beautiful mod. These are front wheel drive cars. I'm not really used to them on Assetto Corsa, but it was great to discover how to drive them, and it's a lot of fun. Again, the long straight in a slight climb is a little bit boring, but you know, as far as you can feel the slipstream, it's great to struggle to make the last two tight corners at Moss Corner, not in this way. Okay, let's get back on the track carefully. Yeah, I was careful, but was oops. Mr. Black Dot, sorry, I didn't mean to do this, but you had plenty of room to stay a bit out of the... Okay, it's an AI, so I don't worry so much about it. Okay, here's the long straight. If I could stay in the slipstream, it could have been great even from the strategic point of view. Alright, yes, takes care to brake and get into the turn, but the fun is still there. Okay, I cut the slipstream here, and I can show you how it helps to make not just one but two overtakes all together. And in the end, with that curb, that was absolutely funny, but and another car I see. Okay, let's switch to the next one. Really not its place because kart cross cars are devised for off-road racing, but many of them use many pilots use them also more or less like rally cars. These cars have the tires usually used on quads, so they are fit both for asphalt and gravel. How does this car handle? Well, of course I choose this to looking for the most exotic things I could throw inside this track. Well, they gain speed very quickly, but they are limited to a certain speed, so from then on it feels boring. However, these two tight corners called the Moss Corner make things so much more interesting. Yeah, there's a little story about the Moss Corner, because when the track was devised, they called Sir Stirling Moss to have some advice about how to do it, and instead of making a hairpin like it was devised in the beginning, Sir Moss suggested to split it into two tight corners, and I have to agree with him. Things went much more fun. Talking about fun and looking for something exotic, yeah, my beloved big sights racers, the Volvo FH Formula Truck. This is a model that once I discovered it, I still think today that it's one of the most pleasant environments where to race. The physic model is absolutely beautiful, is great, and gives great satisfaction. So what about using this on this peculiar track? Let me tell you that it is even more beautiful, because like it happens on Brands Hatch circuit. Yes, I must say that there's something similar to Brands Hatch circuit. That's the continuous combination of climbs, crests, turns, etc. It's like I mentioned in an earlier video, like we have a tri-dimensional track, and as far as downforce is not excessive, I mean it's not so great, studying the circuit and looking for multiple racing lines is very intriguing. Yes, because the point about the racing lines is important, because with such a combination of the characteristics of the track, choosing different different racing lines depending on how the fight is going turns out to make a difference. For example, here the way I got out of Moss's corner helped me to get one position, while here I'm trying to throw it all away. But this mode is beautiful, and you can handle even unwanted drifts due to wrong downshifting. What now? Take it to a limit. Extremes. Yeah, pretty different extremes. Okay, what does such a track do if we choose so extreme different cars? Okay, there's a common point, I must say. You make almost all the track flat out. But in this case, on the Ferrari, Formula 1 Ferrari, it feels like driving in a video game, so some arcade video games. Yeah, almost flat out and keep the speed and just keep it inside the track. While these ones give me a feeling of going to a go-kart track and rent a 4-stroke rental kart. So again, video game, arcade video game, and rental kart 4-stroke, Briggs and Stratton. Even this is Fiat Abarth. You must use every single of the 32 horsepower available here. If you waste one, you're done. While here you must just stay alive, not do mistakes, and keeping that speed that allows to stay inside the track. And again, rental kart. Oh, that's nice. A little bug. Heading for victory. Yet you must be careful because it loses. Grand finale. Okay, thanks Mosport Park. Thanks people for listening to me and staying here. Happy birthday to this circuit. And thanks Assetto Corsa. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye everyone.